Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Rewinds Rewind. It's the last episode we have pre-jury of 17. It wasn't supposed to be that way, but as you will find out over the course of this pod, um, our our host hearts are grieving twice as full as they normally would be as we have lost not one but two players in one fell swoop this episode as the twins are taken out of commission.
I thought double
Moment.
eviction was next week.
I know. Yeah, I guess they kind of did get a double eviction. But yes, the twins have fallen. A
At the
second
last
Jeff, a
hurdle,
second
too.
Jeff has hit the twins. Um, and we're here to talk about it. As always, I'm Jackson. I'm joined by some lovely people and one special guest, one of which will introduce themselves this very moment. Ready, go.
It is me. It is Shinx.
Mhm.
Hello.
Shinx is not the special guest.
Oh,
No,
no,
never.
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 Okay, it's only funny when I say never. Like, god damn.
Shinx is a guest and he's very special, but he's not our special guest.
That's right.
Well,
I'm Sydney, the first and now one of two female minority hire.
Very good, very good.
Hi, this is Alex. I'm so sorry for the alarm. I'm the second female diversity hire. I'm trying to eat food.
This is why they don't want to hire women anymore.
I know. I'm really destroying feminism right now.
Alex is sitting in the kitchen, by the way. I just have to
Barefoot
mention.
and yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Barefoot in the kitchen.
As all things should be.
I'm setting us back to like the 50s right now. I'm so sorry.
And then last but not least, it is me. I'm Blaze, the special guest for the episode. After Shinx
Oh my
so
god.
painfully stole my thunder.
The eternal runner-up of Big Brother Reruns.
Yeah.
And I do it
You
again.
really need to stop doing that. Can you not?
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
kind of like a statement thing at this point.
I won't do it again. I know that much.
Hey, well, honestly, it's just something that nobody else can do like me.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're the best at
Take
it.
pride of it. Take pride
Blaze,
in
Aria
it.
tried it.
uh,
As much as I can.
Like,
Yeah,
like,
Blaze famed Joe from BB Rewind's 8, who then returned for Second Chances season 15 and was runner-up as Sombra there as well. And then in one of
getting
our
second place on second chances isn't that bad.
That's true.
Second,
And then even in one of our off seasons that we did when we did the traders in the off season, as Erica from Survivor 41 too made it as a runner up. And you know what?
Who else has a role of just as like eternal runner up? I mean,
Exactly.
that's iconic. I'm sorry.
And you've never been eliminated in any format of
No.
Rewind. So I think
I
that's
still love traders too. They were like, should we just cut her at fourth? They was like, if we cut her now, she gets fourth instead of second, and we need her to get second for the meme.
I was fighting to get second place.
Yeah.
Like
And
I
you did.
did the challenge so hard. I had to get it. I was
Yes.
begging them on my hands
It
and
felt
knees.
so correct.
But
Like-
yeah.
Yeah.
You smashed
Um,
that hourglass, babe.
Smash a lot more than the hourglass.
Yeah.
But here we are. We're here to discuss all things that are cycle 5 of Big Brother Rewind 17. We have quite the doozy to discuss. This was kind of the first cycle that things really came alive, I feel like, in the game. So we have a lot to talk about. So let's get right to it. At the end of last cycle, Johnny Mac was evicted with at first we thought it was going to be a whimper, but then he sent his final words and it was definitely a bang. And very Sheila-esque, kind of let everyone have it except for like a couple people. I think like he didn't call out Jace or something for whatever reason in it.
Swan thanks him for the material for future comps.
Exactly.
Dramatic
Yeah,
readings.
yeah, for sure. And yeah, everyone is kind of stunned and reeled from John's final words, but a lot of people think it's really funny. Just because kind of the main group of people are pretty shitposty when it comes to that stuff anyways. So they progressively throughout the week will be like quoting things that were in John's speech and like using it to mock each other. So that's fun. Um, But yes, just like it's our final
I'm sorry,
week.
can I just say again, I really love this cast. Like, I love how fun they
Oh
are
yeah,
with shit like that. Like, it's lovely.
absolutely. No,
Yeah.
they're amazing. Great cast. Um, it's the last week ever, and hopefully, knock on wood, unless they bring it back randomly like 10 seasons later for whatever reason, the last week of Battle of the Block for Big Brother. So one last go around, we have to find two HOHs for the competition. And in recent memory, this is one of my favorite, like, obviously the knockout competitions are always fun anyways, because it's fun to see like how people interact and stuff like that. But this is my favorite like result and favorite like process of going through a competition that I think maybe ever in like the season or in the series. I'm sure if I thought hard enough, I could think of some other ones, but this was just crazy. Um, so it's the knockout competition. It's based on, oh, I have to say what week we're in. We go into Shakespeare Week, following Play
The
Week.
bod.
Yes, that Alex largely took the reins on, and made a bunch of really amazing competitions that we did for it.
Thank you.
So yeah, Alex, do you want to describe, I guess, kind of what the HOH competition was?
Sure. So basically, the HOH competition was inspired by actually a play that me and my very nerdy friends were obsessed with in high school, which is The Complete Works of Shakespeare Abridged. And it's basically like this theater company that kind of does like basically the entire works of Shakespeare, but it like makes it humorous and kind of like, you know, makes it more accessible for people. And so I was like, let's basically do like the complete works of BBR abridged and just have it be a fucking DVD cover comp because no one reads in this series anyway. So
Mhm.
like, why not just have it be based on pictures and stuff, you know?
Yes, absolutely. It was great. And we can finally have people be forced to pay attention to all the hard work that Shinx does with all of the DVD covers in the Rewind History channel.
Absolutely. If we
We've
can get
done
them to pay attention to us, then we've done our job.
absolutely. I feel like we do competitions a lot based on the voting charts that Shinx do. But now finally the other half of Rewind's Rerun, they have to study and slave over all the DVD covers to make sure they get all the details of it. And so just in the sense of the knockout competition for the first round, because obviously after the first round, it's based on like who wins and who calls out who to face off next. But to start with, we have to randomize it. And so it ends up being randomized to James and Vanessa that face off, James and the twins, for the first round. And this starts a literally unending cycle of Vanessa and Jeff being in every single round because they are at the top of each other's lists to call out. And they both just keep winning. And it goes back and forth with Vanessa wins a round and puts up Jeff and the next person. And then Jeff wins a round and puts up Vanessa and the next person. And it literally happens the entire competition until it is down to just Jeff and Vanessa in the finals. So they're automatically HOH. And because we have the two HOHs still in Battle of the Block. Um, and it got to about like halfway through the competition when people started making jokes about like, well, watch Jeff and Vanessa just be co-HOHs after targeting each other the whole time. And then that's exactly what ended up happening anyways. Um, so
I
they get
love that we were like, your whole list won't be revealed, guys. And then their entire fucking list was revealed just because it was trading off. Like, yes, please expose your social game. I love it.
I know, and that's something that I hadn't even really like considered just because like the possibility of someone or I guess two people because it literally is impossible for two people to be in or for one person to be in every round because you win and then you can't like call yourself out obviously, but like two people being in the same in every round at least had never even crossed my mind. Because I think we've had people go back and forth at each other, obviously, in
Yeah,
these.
but someone usually just falls, like they get it
Yeah.
wrong. They
Yeah.
tap
This
through
cast is just
here.
full
It's
of
just
game changers, guys. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
well, half the people were trying to throw because they know they shouldn't be HOH. Like Jackie answered Kirby for a question. Meg
And
was
she was so right. I should have accepted that. I really
getting
take offense was
getting
not.
things wrong. It was
Yeah.
just
If
There
someone
were
said the
confident
ball, I would have
errors.
taken that as a correct answer. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. There were a couple times when I think someone was faster than the twins, but they got it wrong for whatever reason and so kept the streak going. But I think every time Jeff got it, he was straight up just like
Yeah,
answered.
Jeff was like, I took all of
And it
them,
was,
I like printed them out on a PDF, and I just stared
yep.
at them. Honestly, good for
He
you.
laminated them. He made a calendar. Good
That's the
job,
kind of
King.
prep that
I
I
love
want to
it.
see.
Yeah.
Period.
And
Oh, yeah.
and so after targeting each other, quite literally the entire competition, Jeff and Vanessa end up facing off in the last round, even though they're both already HOHs for the round. They have to decide the order for who gets dibs on the order for nominees. So Vanessa does take it at the very end. So she gets first dibs on noms. And
The normal week, the twins would have just been in the game.
yeah. And the mortal enemies, Jeff and Vanessa, now have to be the two heads of household for the cycle, which is very interesting because they both most definitely would have been initial nominees for the other. Um, so that was super interesting and fun.
A funny thing Meg pointed out was that, hey Jeff, every other week the second place HOH has stayed and like wasn't dethroned, so you're fine. And that, spoiler, is what happened.
It was
In a
very
very
interesting watching the HOH room to see them interact after the comp. The tension was palpable. You
Yeah.
could
Yeah,
tell there was
the
so
twins were prioritizing. They didn't go about it the best way, but their main goal was to be immune. So they were like, hey Jeff, no backdoor deal. And Jeff was like, yeah, sure. Jeff was like,
Yeah,
Well, they
because
did
like
a
why
shit
would
job at
I
trying to
I
remain
might not
immune,
stick
but
to
we'll talk
this.
about that later.
I know.
And
Yeah.
then yeah, they were like already trying to figure out their noms, and then Vanessa was like, I want to nom Shelly against Jason because Shelly sucks and she'll drag Jason down. Spoiler alert, she does not do that. And then Jeff was like, oh, I
What was
want
the
to nom.
quote? Someone in the spec chat said it was Jason was an unstoppable force and Shelly was an immovable
It
object.
was
That
oh
was
no, it
me,
was
Meg.
Meg.
No,
Meg
Meg.
that
said
that
No, it
stoppable
was
force.
it was unstoppable force and then movable object, I think.
Yeah,
no, it was a
force,
stoppable for
stoppable
force versus
force,
a movable
movable
object because it was
object.
just like
Oh.
it was the
Because
complete butchering of the phrase, which was just
because
the chef
Jason
kiss of
has
it
never
all.
lost a battle of the block, and Shelly has never won a battle of the block. So it was like, does Jason is Jason greater than Shelly is bad? Basically, like
I feel
Yeah.
like we would have seen that more in if the Battle of the Block comp wasn't the way it was, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
know,
But yeah, Vanessa at this point, Vanessa's the one still in the reins, and she's like, Jeff was like, oh, I want to nominate Shelly, and then when Vanessa was explaining this to Shelly, she was like, Shelly was like fighting for her life, and she was like, "Girl, if I don't do it, Jeff will." So, and then Shelly immediately runs to Jeff and is like, "So you're gonna put me up too?" And then Jeff is like, "Vanessa, what the fuck?" But like, and then that made Jeff more mad at Vanessa
Yeah.
and even more inching to like do a backdoor if she gets dethroned, even though they never talked about like obviously I don't think she should have told Shelly that, but he never like said, "Don't tell Shelly." But I'm also like, why would you tell Shelly that?
Yeah, it's just a similar thing to like what happened with like Jackie and James telling them about the Jaliance twin discussion thing and then them immediately going to Jeff themselves and like immediately like confronting him about it.
I
Like
don't know why all these people are like so shocked at the idea of when they leak something, it might also be leaked. Like a
I don't
leak is
even
like a
think
child. Like you send it out into the world and then it's like independent and can live its own life. You know,
yeah.
that's why you have to weigh it
Yeah.
before
I
you
don't
leak
even think they're
anything.
really mad about the leaking part, though. I think they're mad about the fact that Vanessa just like immediately takes this, doesn't ask them anything or thank them or whatever, or do
Yeah.
anything with the information, and then just immediately goes to the person that it's about and tells them, like, well, I heard this from like these people. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
well that's just rude. You need to thank
She
people for
was
their
just
gifts
trying
to
to
you.
justify her nomination to Shelly. Be like, okay, well, look, if I don't do it, then you're gonna go up anyways. So, like, if anything, I'm doing you a
Right.
favor by putting you with Jason. And Shelly was like, yeah, you know what? I want to go up with Jason if I'm gonna go up at all. So you do it. And like,
Well,
it
I'm
was funny.
reclaiming my power.
the whole problem of this.
Oh yeah,
Also,
Graham's here, by the way.
Oh
hi
yeah, hi Graham.
everybody.
Hey bestie. My
It's
little Graham's back here.
Graham, stream 911 on Hulu and watching on ABC.
The
Uh,
B NATO is coming or something.
the B NATO is
Christ
on its
almighty.
way, September 12th. So soon, I'm so ready. Anyway, so basically, the problem with this is not the leaking, and I understand Alex's point of view that like a leak is a child that like you can't control it once it's out. But the problem is the absolute tactlessness of the way
Yes.
that Vanessa has been going about it. Because we've seen it, we discussed it on the Winners podcast, we discussed it last season about using information and when to use the information. It's not just that you have information, it's how you use the info you get and when you use it and when you choose to drop it. We went over Arya as Jin writing out in her DR like essays about what information she got where and when she's going to drop it for what time because it's going to do this to somebody or this is the reaction it's going to get, right?
Yep.
So that's the problem that these people are starting to have with Vanessa. That begins as we see. It started with the Jackie is information, but the reason I'm bringing it back up is because we can see it snowball into an effect later this cycle. I mean, spoiler,
Yeah.
right? Like we see this buildup of Vanessa being this kind of tactless. The twins are just tactless in the way that they go about so much.
Okay, but I just want to defend them for 1 second
Well, yeah.
because well, that's what I'm here for, essentially. Um,
Period.
I will say you guys are all right. Like I'm definitely not disagreeing with you, but we also have to remember that Shelly has a pattern of going into someone's DMs and having a full-on guilt trip mental breakdown every time she's at risk of being nominated. So it's not like with Shelly's just there like, oh, like I guess I'm getting nominated, like blah 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 blah. It's like she's like, how could you do this to me? Like you can't do this to me again. Like I can't handle this. She has threatened to walk from this game more than one time over being nominated. So I do think part of it was like trying to gauge the fact that knowing that's going to be Shelly's reaction, like throwing information at her that might mitigate that reaction, which is, well, even if I didn't put you up, Shelly, my dear, you probably would go up anyways, which was true. So
but that's not helpful either, though. Like, why would that help her?
well, I think it's
wanna
just
know.
trying to
Like,
get
how
some
would that
guilt
make
off of
Shelly feel
yourself.
any better?
It's
I
No,
also-
no, it's
no,
not making
no,
her
I
feel
understand.
better. It's trying
I
to
get
mitigate the reaction against yourself, like saying, well, Shelly,
Yeah.
don't be just mad at me. Don't take all your wrath out on me, because if you're upset about getting nominated, I'm not the only person here who would nominate you.
And also,
So not
she was
to-
nominating them next to Jason, who's won
Yeah.
like every battle of the block ever or
Right.
whatever. But also, they shouldn't have been nominating Jason in the first place because they
No,
Yeah.
I
should
mean,
have wanted
yes.
to remain HOH. So there was like a
I-
whole
Yeah.
slew of problems with it.
I will touch on that now. I don't think they should have nominated Jason, but I also
No.
understand why they know. They had no other enemies besides Jason and Jeff. They already had to make a new one.
But
with
it's
Jeff
not
and-
like they have a lot of friends either.
Would Jeff have nominated Jason? Like, could they have worked out something where Jeff nominates Jason for like the easy nom?
I mean, they
can't
did that
remember.
last time Jeff was HOH.
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
won't they?
With Dave on,
They
and
should
they
have done
fit.
that.
They were tunnel visioned on. I think the twins wanted. If I was the twins, my number one goal is be safe. But their number one goal was take out Jason and become safe in the process.
And they
I'm like,
decided to do the exact
should've-
opposite of both.
They
That's
should have
fine
chosen their
if a
battles.
sweep week will keep him on the block. You don't do that shit when you can't control battle of the block. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
I think I discussed it somewhere of saying like what I'll give the twins this week is that they use this week as a way in an attempt to set themselves up going further in the game versus focusing on the cycle at present. And that was
Yes.
their mistake this week, was not focusing on the cycle at present. They were using their HOH in an attempt to set themselves up, and it didn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
Blaze,
go ahead.
I was just thinking, like, with the whole thing, if like Shelly and Jeff, if you were trying to keep yourself safe, you should be preparing for the fact that the battle block may not go your way. So
Yeah.
telling Shelly, even if you're already making an enemy out of Shelly either way, is the thing. So, I mean, yes, the guilt thing can be a thing, but I think there's a certain point where you just kind of have to accept that you're not going to be on the best terms, and you need to kind of prepare for Jeff. And the risk of that getting back to Jeff and causing him to have incentive to backdoor you was probably not weighed. I can see why they made their decision. I think that that's
Yeah.
also a little bit in hindsight. It's probably easier to see that. But I think if they're prioritizing being safe, that should have been one of their focuses, is Jeff.
Yeah, I asked them like, why the hell did y'all nominate Jason? Why did you try to backdoor him? There is like, they were like, we didn't have anyone else to now. I'm like, I get that. I understand. I don't agree with it, but I understand the logic. It's not
But,
what I
like,
would have done, but I see how you reach that conclusion.
Genuinely, who else likes them other than Becky?
But that they were I can see their sort of thought process of like, I
Yeah.
don't want to make any extra enemies, and they
Yeah.
still at this point they didn't like know that Meg hated their guts yet. I don't know if they found that out until later this week.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh, I'm still good with all these people. I only hate Jason and I hate Jeff and Shelly's the pawn, so I'm just gonna nominate Jason White. Like they have a fucking blood feud against Jason and Shelly
But
is the
like so does
pawn.
everyone. Everyone hates
But
Jason.
again, like they were looking ahead and not
Yeah.
getting themselves in a place to be actually in the
Yeah.
spot too,
Yeah.
which is again like I respect what they were doing. And also like let's just say too, it's like not all of this week, as we'll see, was the twins' fault. Like some of it
Yeah.
was
No.
just bad luck, some of it was coincidence. Like
Yeah.
there is a path in which they did this exact set of noms and said all this to Jeff and still could have stayed.
Absolutely.
Like they weren't out of the game. So
Yeah.
but they definitely they should not have nominated Jason, and they should have kept their mouth shut a little bit more.
I don't
But
think they were
that's
trying to
like
throw Jeff under the bus, but when Shelly was
weren't.
coming at them, they were like, it's not just me, it's Jeff
Mhm.
But
too.
that's what happened. And it's like,
Yeah.
and honestly, like in my opinion, like not that I do think like maybe there could have been something like more salvageable between the twins and Jeff had that moment not happened. Like it definitely came back to bite them in the scenario that happened. But at the same time, it's like even if that hadn't happened, Jeff
think
and
Jeff
the
would have done
twins
it
they were shaky enough that Jeff probably would have backdoored them anyway.
Yeah, I think
Like I
That's
think this
why
was like the
it
nail in
didn't
the
help, but it was
coffin.
gonna happen.
It didn't help, but
Mhm.
I don't think that is the reason why Jeff decided to backdoor them. Like Jeff, I think would have came to that conclusion no matter what.
I
So
think it
Yeah.
gave him an
Yeah.
excuse to be able to do it while being like, "You drew first blood. It wasn't me. You
Mhm.
violated
I
the
don't even think
agreement
he ever even
first."
told them about
he
that.
never
I don't
he
even think
never
he ever
even
told them.
cited that as a reason. Like
Yeah.
and he actually still
I
pursued
thought
other
I
options.
saw him say that somewhere where he was
In his
like,
DR
"No,"
maybe,
and they
but not to
sold him
them.
out. Blah blah blah.
Not
Yeah,
to
it's
not to
fair.
them faces, but I think he said in his DR, but not to anyone's face.
I feel like I saw him say that he was thinking of backdooring even before that moment, though.
Yeah.
He
I-
was like,
was,
this
so-
just
yeah.
locked.
Well,
He's like, this
they
just locked
definitely
it.
didn't like have like an actual agreement. It was more like, "I'd be open
like-
to like burying the hatchet."
The
Yeah,
twins,
I'd be
they were
open
gonna
too.
keep their pact. The twins
They
were gonna
were,
keep
yeah.
it. They were like, I hope Jeff keeps it because they didn't have any other
No,
options.
like to be fair, they literally never said I fully agree to that. They both said I'd be open to burying the hatchet.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I know about like avoidant language and like kind of
Yeah.
dancing around shit and
Yeah.
letting people assume things, and that was fully what was happening.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, the twins, they land on the movable object and the stoppable force of Jason and Shelly. For noms, neither of them take it well. Jason's pissed and tries to publicly fight Vanessa. Shelly is having her mentee be in her diary room.
This begins
Mhm.
Jason's GIF arc, or Jason first starts only talking to the twins in GIFs, and then he decides, you know what? I'm just gonna talk to everyone in GIFs. So now Jason is just talking in GIFs to the
Yeah.
entire cast
Fitting.
more than
Yeah,
real
so-
words.
So those are the twins noms. They get dibs and choose to go first as well, but Jeff needs to find his noms as well. It's pretty widely known that Becky is one of, if not the closest person to Vanessa. And Becky is also not someone that is largely socially connected with a lot of people in the house. So Jeff lands on Becky for his first nom pretty easily, but does need that second person since Vanessa's off the table and he can't nom the twins. So he has a few people he's thinking about, but he ultimately lands on Jackie. Jackie did nominate him week 1, and they have like sort of kind of worked together moving forward, but it was pretty surface level. And they haven't really bonded super closely just between the two of them. So he does end up going with Becky and Jackie for his nominations. And they go ahead and do this ceremony. And those are the 4 nominees for the 2 head of household competitions. Jeff also basically sells his soul and his firstborn child to Jackie for recompense for nominating her. I don't
Yeah, he was like, no matter what happens, if I get my way, you will not be on the block by the end of the week. That's basically what he was telling her.
Yeah.
I don't think it was an awful idea, though. I think like
Chinks,
it
Chinks
did.
posted the whole thing in the notes. Let me read it. Hey, Jackie.
No.
So I'm going to be straight up here. I am really, all caps, sorry to do this, but you were going to be the second nominee this week. Not only is one of my ideal noms my co-HOH, but then she went ahead and took my secondary nom, which has forced me into a position of having to put someone I genuinely really like on the block. The margins are so slim for any reason to nominate anyone, and it just boiled down to the fact that relative to some of my other relationships, we have not been working together as much on a strategic level. I want to say a few things right here, right now, so that you can hold me to. Number one, if I win veto, I will take you down. Full stop. Number two, if you stay on the block this week, I will be campaigning hard for you to stay. Number three, when you stay, parentheses, because you will be staying. Next time you win HOH, I will fully understand and not fight being nominated. Number four, I feel really fucking bad about this.
Oh no.
Because as this cast has proven, they love doing what the HOH wants.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Alex, would you like to
Yeah.
describe your battle of the block that you so inspired from the real show?
Yes.
I was actually really proud of this one. Yes, I
No, I
would.
loved this. Yeah, it was
Should
so
be. I think it was the first comp we made this season too, actually.
Mhm.
If I remember correctly.
Probably. So basically, in the real show, the Battle of the Block was basically them like throwing paint at walls and stuff, and various letters were kind of hidden around the arena with like an invisible paint or something. I don't know. Basically, like when they threw paint, letters appeared.
Yeah.
And so I basically made a comp where it was 3 different colors. Like it was pages of a book, pages of Shakespeare's diary in this in comp lore. And they basically had to collect and unscramble letters to various Shakespearean idioms. I really was trying to make it fingers and pies, but then I found out that I apparently lied about that being from Shakespeare, so I couldn't incorporate that. But we had other idioms to choose from, so
Yes, exactly.
we went with it.
And as someone who has had the privilege of testing this competition, I did not do so great. I think I
But
had to like.
You know who you
literally
did
kind
better
of-
than? Jackie and Becky.
Everyone did better.
Well, that's the thing with this comp is unlike some of the other comps, it really was one where, like, I mean, it was tested with everyone solo.
Oh yeah.
Like, someone could just fucking beast it themselves. It was more like, we encourage you to have others there. Like, we encourage you to kind of have a meeting of the minds because it is a dual comp. But, you know, it's not like genuinely, Jason simply dragged Shelly's body across the finish line.
Yeah,
Yes.
Jason threw some paint on Shelly's body and dragged her.
I think she collected the letters for one color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did nothing else. God
No.
bless, but you know, she.
I mean, literally,
yeah.
Becky and Jackie went first, and we were watching them. They were going at a pretty good pace. Like, oh, they might put up a good fight, and then they got stonewalled on the blue one because I guess they over prepared with the idioms list that they also Jeff in an act of goodwill gave both of them a links to a list of idioms as well. So that's gave for Jeff, I guess, whatever, I don't care. And then they had this list and it was working. Like they were able to identify the key, but then the last phrase they needed, the website Alex took it from shortened the quote. And so she shortened the quote in the competition. The website that they found had the full quote. So they were ruling it out because like it's too long.
Yeah, I think they like counted the number of
Mind
letters
you,
or something.
I would like to repeat for the 1000th time. The website I took it from is the first website that pops up when you Google Shakespeare idioms. I was not doing a deep dive. I was not trying to trick them.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the one that Jason used. And Jason was like, oh yeah, they were all right here.
Yeah.
When that's the other thing, when Jason and Shelly go, they're also moving at a similar pace to Becky and Jackie, and they get the same last one they have. And I'm like, oh my God, they might get stuck on this. Then Jason shows up and he's like, oh, I found this. And it's the exact same like Alex said that nobody else.
I was like, oh, we're fucked.
And then Jason's like, it's right here, says the word, says I blink, and he says stop. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Shelly, because they planned for, because there's 3 of them, there was the red, blue, and the green. I think they were like, okay, like Shelly, you start on red, I'll do blue, and then we'll meet together and do green or something. And Shelly, they had gone for like a couple minutes, and Shelly was like, I'm really struggling, I'm gonna go with green. And then Jason sent the blue one that he did, went back and sent the red one that Shelly was struggling with. And then Shelly was like, okay, I'm looking at green. And then he sent the green and then finished. So it was like,
honestly, Shelly, babe, like just get him some Gatorade. It's fine. Like, you're there to be a cheerleader. That's really, when you
Exactly.
are attached to
It
a comp
was-
piece, you just go like, you're doing amazing, sweetie,
Yeah.
and like you just let them do their thing.
Just go along for the
12
ride.
minutes versus 39.
I just
It
have to
was-
say,
it was-
12 minutes is an insane time. Like I think Jason just got very lucky too with getting the right like thing to find every single idiom in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what Alex is talking about or what you searched up or what Google you used, but the like first 5 websites online did not contain those idioms.
Alex is using DuckDuckGo or something like that. She got a different.
No, I started using
account here.
DuckDuckGo after I made that comp. Okay.
Oh my god.
Alex binged it.
This is
instead.
on Safari. No.
Yeah.
Oh, genuinely, I have trauma from that shit. Don't even start with me.
But
A host
yeah.
used Bing and it had different results. Don't even
Yeah.
start with me.
Yeah.
So Jackie and Becky get like blown out of the fucking water by Jason.
It was honestly embarrassing.
Yeah,
If
and
you're-
the twins are dethroned, so they are now vulnerable as HOH. Shelly and Jason are immune. Jason has now won 5 competitions in 5 weeks. He's won every battle of the block that he's been a part of. And Shelly for the first time, and because Shelly went nominated and she stayed against Austin, then she got vetoed next to John,
Day.
and now she has won battle of the block along with Jason. So she's one way or another, Shelly's gonna stick around, guys.
And then Shelly once again took her safety and fucked right
Yeah,
off.
they're getting fucked off. Absolutely. As
That is a
you know what,
trend
she's
for the
entitled to do it.
season. That is a trend for the season.
Yeah, we get to the veto draw, and I'm sitting here like shaking in my fucking boots, like please pick the
know.
twins, please pick the twins, and then it lands on Becky, and I'm like, yes. 'Cause
thank
what does
God.
Becky do? Picks the twins.
Yeah.
And it was Veronica. I would have said is the better competitor, and this was her turn to play in the veto. I'm like, oh my god, the
Mhm.
twins are back to fucking clean house. I forget who else gets picked. Honestly, I don't remember. Let me look.
I really don't remember
It-
either. I have it on my charts
it
though.
was-
It was and then Meg gets picked, and then Jackie gets house guest choice and picks Audrey, which was another very contentious
Oh,
thing
that was
happened.
funny.
Because like as soon as because Jackie didn't want to pick like Jace or like Day or someone in their core, because she wanted to do the thing where it's like not really revealing like who you're actually closest with and throwing it off. But then the moment that Audrey gets picked, she goes to Jace and is like, "Oh my God, yes! If I win, I can use it on I can use it on, or I can not use it," because she doesn't want the twins to go up. And I
Oh,
can
yeah.
lock noms and keep it between Becky and Jackie. And Jace pretty much like immediately runs and tells that back to them too. And Jackie's like,
Yeah.
"That was so fucking stupid. I should have just picked like Jace or something." Get picked, so it's possible that they can win and take Becky off and just utterly fuck whatever Jeff is planning on doing.
Oh yeah,
And we wanted them to. And
Jeff
we
was
wanted
running
them
around
to.
saying twins winning and sleeping Becky. Well, sorry, Vanessa winning and sleeping Becky is my worst case scenario. He was telling the entire cast.
Yeah, and it was very close to happening, but just not quite, unfortunately.
Alex, do you
Spoiler
guys discuss your veto competition
Yeah.
that you also so lovely made?
Sure. So the veto competition was, I think, was it Jackson who suggested this one? I can't remember if it was Jackson or
Yes,
Graham.
yeah, I thought it would be a fun idea. I remember
Yeah,
I was on
Jackson's
the lake.
idea.
Yeah, I was on the lake or something, and I was like, because I think what the idea that we were thinking of just like wasn't quite working for whatever reason, and we were like, well,
Yeah,
what?
it was gonna be like really boring. It was literally back when I thought the pie, like fingers and pies, was a thing, and I wanted to do
Okay.
like a spam comp of making them put fingers in pies to annoy Shanks.
Yeah.
So this worked out much better.
Yeah.
And this is basically like, so does anyone that, okay, everyone here probably does, but the we younglings, there was like a period of time in the early 2000s when every fucking movie was just a remake of some Shakespearean play,
Absolutely.
like a modernization.
Yeah.
So basically this was a comp where like we took, you know, the IMBD summaries of various Shakespeare adaptations, ran them through Chat GPT, and then replaced all the names with host names. And it came up with some stunning
It
summaries.
was so good. They were so funny.
Including
Yeah.
Shinx being a prostitute who slept with men but insisted he was heterosexual.
Yes, of
Of
course.
It was just
Didn't
so
he
unhinged. It was
continue
lovely.
her legacy of being a horse fucker?
So
Did
it
she?
will live on
No.
forever.
Don't say that when I'm in the law school. They can hear you. They're in the wall.
They're listening. They're listening.
No,
Say it louder,
I
say it louder.
specifically in this comp made Sydney the angel and the good woman and every single thing, and then I was the
And that's why
monster.
Alex is my favorite, and I hate all the rest of you bitches. Like, I literally
Exactly.
can't stand any of you.
Right,
It's
right,
okay.
right.
I hate you too. Don't worry about it.
Honestly, fair enough.
The other day,
Yeah.
Shinx literally was like, to something I said that was totally innocent. He goes, "Should I be mean or nice?" The fuck? Be nice, you bitch. Why would you be mean to me? Like, it didn't even involve you, what I said.
But yes,
anyway.
so
Anyways.
we were nice and gave them kind of a list of which Shakespeare plays this shit would be based off of. That way they could study if they wanted to, kind of read up on what it was about, so they could recognize the summaries. And some people
Study
still
they
managed
did.
to include plays that were not in the key, which is very
Yeah.
impressive, Jeffrey.
There's three things.
So-
There's honestly three things to know with this competition. The other players honestly did. If I don't mention them, they were thrown or whatever. Or yeah. So Jeff went in with the best time. Like he beat the winner's time, but somehow tricked himself and something. He made a list of all the plays that were turned into movies, ruled out the ones that weren't options, and then was like, "Oh, these two are similar. I have to make sure so I don't put this one." And then what does he do? He puts the one he told himself to rule out. So even though he had the fastest time,
no, he puts one that wasn't even in the fucking
yeah,
answer key.
that's
Yeah.
what I mean. He was like, "Oh, I think of this not on the key. I'm not gonna say this one. It's not there." But then he like somehow tripped himself up and put it back in rotation
So
after
funny.
he already took it out himself.
I feel like there's a really big trend with this cast of thinking that we're more evil than we are, and like us accidentally being more evil than we intend to be. It's truly wild. Like,
Yeah. So,
I
Jeff
don't-
won the competition, but took himself out the game by tricking himself, and I cheered. I was like, "Oh my god, Jessica!" He went second. I'm like, "Oh my god, Jeff's gonna win." I scored. I'm like, "Oh, he got a 9 out of 10. Oh my god, they're gonna win!" And then,
Yeah, because Meg went first, right? And she got a
Meg-
perfect score, but it was kind of slow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Was it Meg
And can I just say,
Fleming?
when Shinx posted that in scores, I went, "Ha ha 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 ha, Jeff," which I have to take back now. Embarrassing for me, but in that moment, I was pleased.
Sydney
And
chooses
then-
kindness every single day.
Yeah.
Then we get Vanessa goes, puts up a great time. Or sorry, Veronica goes, puts up a great time, gets a perfect score. And then Veronica's also trying to convince Becky to throw. Like, "Becky, you need to throw because I will win and I will take you down and we're both safe. If you
Oh,
win,
this was
Justin's
hard to
gonna
watch.
backdoor me." And Becky was like, "Why is Vanessa trying to make me throw? What is she doing?" But then Becky was like, "You know what? She's right. I don't think Veronica or Vanessa would fuck me over. They told me their twin secret. I'm gonna trust them." And Becky threw, and just barely lost to Veronica by a minute. But that's not even the important part. But then we get to Jackie and her bestie James, who is not playing the competition, but is apparently a fucking theater like legend, but hasn't been showing the other house guests this. And it's like, "Hey Jackie, I'm a fucking theater whiz. So what I'm gonna basically run you this fucking comp for you, and we're gonna practice." And they did. They practiced the entire fucking night.
Yeah.
And then Jackie goes up there and fucking destroys the guy. If Jeff had done it correctly, he would have only beaten Jackie by like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That's how fast Jackie is. So
It was
Jackie
very reminiscent of Sydney and Cole and All Stars.
Yeah.
Cole doing the fake Zing party questions
Yeah.
for Sydney.
Jackie
Except
blew
the
it out of
inverse,
the
because
water.
I failed and it
Yeah.
actually worked for Jackie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Jackie just blew them out of the
Yeah,
water because
James
Vito.
Foley was like writing up his own like summaries of like different
Yeah.
adaptations and stuff and
They were
sending
like, "If you
Jackie.
see Gnome, it's Romeo and Juliet. If
Yeah.
you see Black Guy, it's Othello.
Yeah.
If you see,
Oh,
if
that
you
was my
don't get
favorite.
this
They were
one-"
like, "It's probably West Side Story for Romeo and Juliet," and I'm thinking to myself, like, "No, it's Romeo and Juliet. Like, we aren't that highbrow here."
As it should
But
be.
then they got to the gnome part. I'm like, "Oh, they know my soul."
Yeah,
It
exactly.
was so
They-
Can
funny.
I
were
just
like-
say, as someone rooting for obviously the twins to win veto, the pit in my stomach every minute I watch James writing up these very competent, very applicable
Yeah.
write-ups, and knowing already that Jackie already on her own is pretty competent in comps already. Plus this, I was like, oh, you know, I really should take back what I said about Jeff. Like I should not have been laughing that quick.
The twins already went
But
by this
also,
point too.
and can I just say, like, I respect their duo, and obviously, no matter what the reason is, if you're on the block, you want to win. I get it. Like Jackie is valid, but at the same time, it's like Jackie did not need to win this veto.
Yeah, like
Like
girl,
you
where
don't
was
know
this?
what would have
Where was this
happened.
in the Battle of the Block?
Yeah.
Literally,
Where was this
literally,
energy?
like this absolute flop of a battle over the block, which would have made everything so easy. But then suddenly she goes fucking apeshit Terminator on this goddamn
Especially
POV, and it's
because
like,
we told them Shakespeare idioms. Like, I'm sorry, I was expecting some of these bitches to make. This is what I would have done. I would have made a spreadsheet with every single one of the quotes that I could find, and then also a column with how many characters were in that quote, and then filter by how many letters were in the phrase and
I
everything,
mean, they
and
kind of
speed
did
through it that
that just
way.
manually. Because remember, they were
Did they
like,
though? Because they really kind of flopped at it though.
Becky like counted them by hand. She was like, oh, this the quote that they needed. We can't use it's too long.
I think
So
they'd also fucked up the letters at some point on one of them.
yeah,
Yeah,
Jackie
that's
put
true,
a
they
T
did.
instead of an F. It was just a night.
But
So I do want to give Shelley props. She did correctly gather the letters of the one color.
true
So
that.
there we
And
go.
that's
No,
more than
she
Becky
ain't.
did.
Yeah.
She
You
ate
know,
the
Yeah,
whole
it was
game.
also it was
The
tragic
thing-
to watch. Oh, go ahead, Grant.
I was just gonna say the thing that made me giggle about this was that the James and Jackie studying was so incessant that Jackie was like, "All right, I have to stop. Like, we have to stop." And James was
Like,
like,
just go.
"I have 25 more of this shit. We're gonna get this done." It was like,
And Jackie was like,
Jackie was like,
please,
"Please
I
free me.
can't take it.
I'm
James,
begging."
James literally had Jackie chained in his basement, just
Yeah.
grilling
Yeah.
him on this shit. It was
And he
truly
was like,
wild.
you're gonna
I
win
mean-
this fucking competition and you're gonna like it.
It truly
Cared a
shows
lot more than Jackie did. It was so funny.
Yeah,
It
so
truly,
much.
Yeah.
truly shows you how much practice can like pay off with the competitions. Though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like in our
If you're the right person, because it's never
Yeah.
worked for me.
And that's
Never
exactly
worked for me.
why we wanted to give them like, because obviously, especially I think it would like genuinely be unfair if we just didn't give them anything
Mhm.
Yeah.
because of obviously in a situation like this where if it was James who has just so much prior knowledge already.
Yeah.
But
It's
if
a huge
it versus like
advantage.
someone that had like zero knowledge or whatever, that's why we gave them the list of like the ones that it would be used for something like this, so that like you could prepare well enough, even going from like zero knowledge and be able to like completely beast it like Jackie did.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
true.
it reminds
Yeah.
me.
Well,
I mean, this is like totally a different season, so feel free to cut this. But anyways, with BB Rewind's 15, Alex and
Just kidding,
Shigs,
Matt.
with a veto in like the final six, the Rock and Roll Play Alliance, which was consisting of 4 people, me, Alex, and then Pikmin and BWD, and we literally sat there and practiced the competition multiple rounds, because what it was just like this weird
Ring
dice
of
roll
Fire.
competition. It was
Oh, Ring of Fire. Yeah, when
Oh
we
yeah,
brought
we
back Ring of
practiced for
Fire.
like an hour. I was literally about to bring that up too. I'm
I
like,
was drafting
yeah,
my
we
notebook
fully
that
did a
was
dry
like
run of that comp.
As you should.
multiple times.
I'd witnessed it 8,000 times, so I didn't need to fucking drive.
And we bodied
And yet you
Shinx and
still lost,
Clementine.
so,
As you should.
And
We
what
love
did
a
you
good
do?
comp
You
prep
just
session.
clued me in that I couldn't trust her ass anymore. You kept fucking picking me. Anyways.
Well,
But
that's
yes,
a different
Jackie-
topic.
Yes, there was this whole saga of the twins like on hands and knees begging Becky to throw this competition because they were convinced, because Jackie had said that she was like, "Oh, I did okay. I don't know if it," like the typical thing that you say, like, "Oh,
Audrey started spreading that Jackie went slow, and the twins
yeah."
were like, "Oh, Audrey
Like,
said
Jackie
Jackie
was
went
like,
slow.
"Oh, I
We
feel
can
okay
do
about
this."
it. I don't know if I won, but yeah." And so Vanessa and the Veronica were like, "Okay, well, I think we got a really good time. Like, I think we had it." So there was this whole thing of them like begging Becky to throw, and then Becky like mulling it over in her DR, and it was like all for naught, and it was really hard to watch, like genuinely. Um, but Jackie does end up sealing the deal with the veto. And obviously, as a nominee, you're gonna take yourself, unless your name is like
Tucker.
Jetson or like
Jordan.
or Tucker or whatever. You're gonna use the veto on
Jordan
yourself.
on BB Rewinds 11.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Oh.
Jordan. Unless the intrusive thoughts win, you're gonna use the veto on yourself. But it is during this time, yeah, like Shinx said, Audrey is talking around and telling people that Jackie like thinks she did whatever at the veto, so maybe the twins have a chance. But also tells the twins that Jeff has like completely walked back this like quasi agreement of not backdooring each other that they had, and that Jeff is like telling Jackie that if he wins, he's gonna use the veto on her, and that he has plans for like a renom and stuff like that. And says that Meg is trying, because Audrey and Meg hate each other like Taylor's all this time. That Meg has this plan to throw the competition so that the backdoor plan is even more ensured so they can get the twins out. And Audrey leaks the stupid Champions of Wolves alliance with Jeff and Jace and Meg and James and Audrey, and is like, this was all part of their plan. They're trying to backdoor you. They want you out. And the twins start spiraling about it, to say the least. Um
And
yeah.
in response, they tell Audrey that they're the twins. Who then
Yes.
Audrey tells that to Jace immediately, who then goes and tells that to
It just,
Jackie.
yeah, it
Like
snowballs.
it was
And
bad. It was
the
bad.
funniest part about it was Audrey was like, I just want to say, I was the first one that called the twins, and I was the first one they told. Neither of which are true. So,
And
Oh,
also, I will say, in the beginning, when this leaking started happening, it actually seemed like a good thing
yeah.
because, like, it seemed like because telling Audrey definitely fully pulled Audrey into like we have to keep the twins now. This is two numbers, and when Audrey went and by through Audrey and then Jace leaked it to Jace and Jackie and James, it seemed like that was going to get that entire block fully onto the camp of like we should save the twins because the twins will be loyal to us and that's two numbers. So like at first this seemed like a good move. It was a good move by the twins at first. It was like, okay, like you need 5 votes if you get backdoor to put on the block, and this is the way to get 5 votes. Didn't work, but
Yeah.
A
I'm
plus for
sure
effort.
I'm sure we're gonna talk about it with the eviction, but I just think it's funny by the end of the cycle that the twins had only told 2 people first. Everybody else they had told had been told by someone else before the
Correct.
twins had told
Yeah.
them.
And it
And that
started to
was Audrey
happen.
and Becky.
Yeah, it started to happen where it's, instead of it being like, oh, well, the twins told me that they're the twins, and that's like a sign of trust. Like they must trust me and I want to work with them. It very quickly turned into, okay, well, I know for a fact that the twins are telling other people and they haven't told me. So why haven't they told me? Like that
This is
just
why I
mean,
live by leak or be leaked. Like
yeah,
it truly,
yeah,
you need
because
to get ahead of that shit,
yeah.
honestly.
Because then it
As
starts turning into people being like, okay, well, if the twins tell me themselves that they're the twins, then maybe like I can trust them, and they do that. And they're very slow on the draw for a lot of the people. They do not tell a lot of people themselves until it's too late.
It
I think they
also brings
waited
up
and
my favorite moment of the cycle where someone tells Liz that Vanessa and Veronica are the twins, and then she doesn't believe them, and then refuses to believe anybody talking about how Vanessa is the twin
Yeah.
until she finally comes in her DR like, okay, so Vanessa and Veronica told me they're the twin.
Mhm.
After an entire like
Mhm.
days of being like, that's not true. They're not the twins.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
refusing to admit it. It's so funny.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Jackie obviously does use the veto on herself. Um, and it seems for a moment that Jeff might actually be too scared to backdoor the twins and is almost like walking it back and is asking people in his alliances or outside of his alliances, which is even more questionable, if they'll be a pawn next to Becky. Specifically, he asks Davon and he asks Liz if either of them will be twin or will be twins. Yeah. If either of them will be pawns next to Becky, to send Becky home. And both of them are literally like, no, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. We don't know each other like that. We're not doing that. And it really, it will see in a future episode of the pod. I think that decision by Jeff was a really poor one. And was not handled very well. And he almost gets spooked into not renomming the twins, and there was almost a light at the end of the tunnel for a second, because Audrey is going really hard into Audrey wants Jeff to put up Day as a pawn, quote unquote, as a pawn, but then secretly try and like send Davon home. And
Mhm.
she tells this to Jace, and she thinks Jace is being really short-sighted because Audrey thinks that we need to keep both the twins and Becky around because they all want to work with us. It can't be like picking which one we want to stay and which one to go. Like we can have all three of them stay, but Jace is not like vibing on that same wavelength. He more so wants to send Becky home, like if anything. And like, yeah, maybe the twins go up, but like I'm sure we can save them, whatever, and we can just send Becky home. And that's not what Audrey wants to do. Audrey wants to save all of them.
Not to
But
get ahead of ourselves, but he probably could have saved them if he wore his fucking vote.
yeah, no
I
kidding.
can't with this shit.
No
I'm
kidding.
sorry.
We will
so
talk
mad.
about
I
it
know,
for
I
sure.
know. I'm just
No,
like,
yeah. I know. We're gonna bring
I'm
back
so mad at like
LVPs
the
for this one
terrible
episode just so
gameplay.
we can all
Thank
give
you.
them the Jace. Don't worry, it's fine.
Please, thank you. You're
Gonna
so
get nasty.
fabulous.
I just like the thing that I want to highlight here is like Jeff, God bless him, but like
No.
literally.
Why?
This is a
Why
God
God bless
Why?
him?
Not
Pissing me
no.
off.
You said he's not blessed. The priest retook his blessing. No.
I never
Jace
blessed
is
that
the
man
new
and I
Donnie
won't.
now. Like he really is, honestly.
Well,
And
well,
he's earned that.
This
well,
entire fucking cast is my new Donnie. Like,
yeah,
let's be
true.
real. This week at least they were.
Well, the thing
Anyway,
about
sorry.
Jeff is that we have seen over and over again, and this in a future episode might come back to bite him in the butt, but we have seen over and over again Jeff like not knowing who and where to give information to. He did it in the J Alliance by telling half the cast he thought that Vanessa was the twins. He did it this week by like being like, should I backdoor Vanessa to like 18 people? And there's only 16 people on the cast. He was like pinging us and asking the hosts. You know, he like it was like, I mean, he didn't actually ping us, but it was like
Yeah,
crazy. Like him like
I swear to God, you know how Swan is running a class on how to throw? I am running a class, a joint class on how to leak. Because this is fucking out of control.
we'll
It's
host it,
ridiculous.
Alex. You and me can host it. And
Absolutely, we got this shit.
It was like it was wild to witness him just
crazy.
like going to people he is not close to, like not allies with, and being like, should I make this huge move of backdooring someone who are like why would anyway? It was just like we saw that over and over again.
I just think that's like Jeff's big problem, and it's so bizarre. I don't think I've ever quite seen something like it before, but well, I've seen it with Jeff where he thinks he's in just such a better spot than he's ever been in the game, and like will come close to being. But also like you'll see it with like Liz. Liz thinks that Jeff is like the ringleader of his whole alliance and is like this mastermind when
He wishes he was.
he's been nominated like 4 times.
No,
And
I'm
like
obsessed with Liz's delusion. It really just
Yeah.
tickles me. I love
But-
that. I'm
but
sorry.
yeah.
I'm a Liz truther. I love
no,
Liz.
and Liz definitely has
She's so
really good
fun.
moments. This
They're
cycle
all
is
just
not really one of them,
delusional. Like,
but she does have good moments.
no, yeah, like, but that's the thing is like I can't even hold Liz to like an unfair standard because honestly, they're all delusional to some degree. Like
Yeah.
And I love that
short,
for them.
like Jackie and James think they're running the house, which like they are, but they're doing it for stupid shit that no one gives a fuck about. And then they're like, "Oh my God, we're the masterminds of this house." Like it's like who gives a fuck? You did this over a dumb fucking vote. Like it's not that serious. Jace thinks he thinks he has the house on lock and that people have not caught up to him when like people were catching on to him weeks ago and just getting more and more done with him. The only person this week who was not straight up delusional to some degree was Devon. That was it.
That's like the only one who actually has self-awareness. That's fantastic.
She was the only one with a grip on reality. She had all 10 toes in the line of reality. She was in the boundary of what is real, and I respect that so much. Like, that's my queen. We can get into it, but
So after Jeff's like panicked like 20-minute session of desperately asking anyone to be a pawn suddenly next to Becky, he
I'm
just
kind of surprised he didn't ask in house chat. Like honestly.
Oh no, Yeah.
He may
Or
as well
at
have
least the Geliants or something, somewhere in a public space.
some public
Uh,
space. Yes, that is
yeah.
correct.
He I guess he just reaches the like fuck it, we ball like part of his mind, and he's just like,
Mhm.
I'm just gonna do it because I don't want to like stress and be anxious about this the whole day. So he just full sends it, and he renoms the twins, then just backdoor tries to backdoor Vanessa. Um and it was looking like when it first happened, there was still, it's like what Cindy was saying, there's still a chance at this point, and it's honestly probably like somewhat likely that they can get the votes to send Becky home
Yeah.
and keep the twins. Like Jace says, like on his gut reaction, that he wants to keep the twins. Both James and Jackie both want to keep the twins. That's three already. Meg is
They
like,
had
well, if the twins come to me themselves and tell me they're the twins and that they want to work with me, like that would make me want to keep them. So like there's plenty of people here that,
Spoiler alert, it didn't.
yeah. There's
they
plenty of
they
people here.
came into this vote with 4 votes locked.
Yeah.
Locked, like in terms, like they had solid interest from Jackie, James, Jace on wanting to keep them. They had Audrey locked on them. They just needed a
One more.
fifth vote.
Yeah.
And yes, there were also about 3 to 4 votes locked against them that probably weren't going to change. So their room, the median of who they could flip was pretty small.
Yeah.
But it was there, and it was not out of their grasp to do it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I blame Veronica's amusement park, honestly. I really do.
Well,
Right,
but
right.
it's like, it's not even Veronica's fault because she wasn't even in.
She should have been in because that bitch was better at pitching. I'm sorry. She's my favorite twin.
Actually,
Like,
we should really highlight that too. Like Veronica is here for like POV. Veronica's the one who plays POV. After they lose and Jackie wins, Veronica's the one who tells Audrey that they're the twins. And Veronica is the one who started telling that, like, she's like, I need to tell the bigger alliance. And like Veronica starts making very good strategic moves to secure this vote because she knows imminently she's probably going to be backdoored.
Yeah.
And then when renom happens, that's when they switch. And like, love Vanessa too. Like both were great, but Veronica just was the better strategist because the minute Vanessa got online, it seemed like all the oomph that Veronica had created, just like all the momentum was just gone. And like Vanessa just essentially her pitch just became like, you should keep me because I'm the twins, so I'm 2 votes for you, and I want to go after Jason and Jeff. But like she wasn't making the pitches for each person she was talking to, and she was also like heavily relying on Audrey and James and Jace to like tell her what to do. And by the time that like Vanessa was even around to like actually really start the campaign, because she was also gone for like a huge chunk of hours, by that time the vote had already switched and James didn't want to keep her anymore, and neither did Jace. So it was like they weren't even helping her. So it was just like, it was frustrating. Like I think if Veronica stayed in the game, it actually is possible like things might have been different.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I do actually want to. I'm sorry.
No, no, you're good. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say I do want to like acknowledge the fact that it does have to be very hard to have like such an interrupted flow in your momentum.
Oh yeah,
and pitching and everything.
absolutely.
So like I do want to like acknowledge that and give them their like not flowers.
It was
but
very
their grace
difficult
about that.
Absolutely.
But I do think that, as you said, I don't think that Vanessa did a good enough job of the art of pitching is making sure that you tailor it to each individual person and think about like their point of view, their position in the game, and why you specifically are better for them. Like if you can post it to ceremonies as a pitch, it's bullshit. It's useless.
Yep. And that's really what it was like she was not pitching uniquely to people. And again, to Vanessa's credit as well, there were a few people she was pitching uniquely to. I think the best being James. And James just started throwing it out on, not even because she wasn't doing a good job of pitching to him, but he just decided that she must be telling this to everyone, which was like kind of true, but he kind of just decided that, oh, like she's just less trustworthy, so she must just be telling everyone that she values them, which actually like technically wasn't true. Like, was she telling almost everyone she was the twins? Yes, but she was not giving full information to everyone like she was James. Like James just decided, I don't think it's best if I vote for the twins. And then he was using whatever he could to try to like justify that since he'd already promised them he would keep them. So it was just like, it was such a fucking messy vote. Like it was not, for me personally, not a fun vote to watch, honestly. Like there were
No,
parts of it
me
that were
too.
fun, but
I
yeah,
think
me and Blaze were suffering.
oh, it was awful because it just like it was slowly just like getting out of the grasp, and it was just you had to watch the slow downfall. I was like, it's not over, it's not over, and it
Like
just
Blaze, it's
kept getting
over.
it kept getting worse.
It kept
Progressively
getting
more and
more
more
over
over.
than
There
more over
was
than we could be over.
yeah, there was so many factors. There's small things. I think things in previous weeks came back to bite, like Jackie hearing about the twins telling Jeff about her telling them
Yeah.
about Jeff thinking they were the twins. But
Mhm.
that one probably had some distrust with Jackie because of that. There was things with the James vote where apparently they didn't put their foot down hard enough, and that got back to James. And then James was using that at least as a reason as to why they should probably vote the twins because they weren't being strong enough in the vote, so he didn't trust them. Um, it was small things like that, and then I think I have to open the can of worms on Jace, but I think
Please do.
Jace was
Please
a
do.
huge problem for them because the entire vote, for the most part, he just was not making up his mind. He was not holding firm in his decisions. Like as it started, it kind of looked like it was going to be okay. Like it looked like he really had his foot into keeping the twins, like when he was talking to Audrey. But the second the vote started, it was just like this weak little like voice, like telling them, like asking people about the vote. There's no foot being put down when he was talking to people. And I think the most he did was go to an alliance with Davon and Jackie and asked, like, should we vote? Not even ask, like, kind of was suggesting that they vote for Becky. And the second Davon started fighting against it, he just backed out entirely.
Absolutely.
Like, and it was crazy to me too because Davon literally gave him permission to do it. Like he had every excuse to still vote for Becky, and he just backed out for some reason, which not only diminishes his trust with Davon in the first place, you still came with the idea to her. Like she knows you were thinking about it one way or another.
Yeah.
But
And
also,
it just further reinforces the whole thing that Jace is like
A
spineless and like
coward.
won't do
and flippy
anything.
floppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole point of
He's a
building up
coward.
social capital is to know when to use it and when to spend it. And if you're just going to hoard it like a little weird dragon, like, and never use it, all your allies are going to see is that, okay, you're not sticking your neck out for this person you should have. What's saying you're going to stick your neck out for me?
Yeah.
And Chase is being triggered right now, and I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So.
it's just
Not
like
hoard it
being
like a
social
little
for the
weird
sake of being
dragon.
social.
That was crazy.
Oh wait, Chicks isn't even on anymore.
No, hoard it
We
like a
should talk
little
shit.
weird dragon.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, she ate. She's
That's
true.
so good.
So it literally
good.
is very, very similar. It felt similar to BBR 15 with the Doom vote when it's like you see, and again,
Yes.
we are coming at this with full
Let's trauma
perspective.
dump about that again, Sydney. Let's
Well,
just,
I don't want to bring
always-
too much because it is a little different, and also like again, we're
yeah.
coming at it from like a full perspective. Like we can see everything, the house guests can't see everything, but it's so frustrating to watch a vote where not only could something flip, but it's like an exciting flip. It's like, oh, like if this person stays, like that would be great for the house. Like Doom staying would have been, in my opinion, like a more interesting game. No offense, love you
No
both.
offense, please. Love you so much.
No, and I'm
Whatever.
biased. No, I'm biased because I love Matt who played Doom. But also in this, it's like, of course, we all want the twins to get in the house because like it's the twins. Like, and also like we I wanted to see Veronica unleashed. I think we all did. Like that would have been great.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my God,
Don't
not
forget
only
like
can a
that.
vote flip happen, which is gonna be it's always fun when there's a vote flip, but also like we can have the twins come in the house, like they're one cycle away. And to just watch that hope just slowly die
I think
hour
that's what made
after
it
hour.
harder too.
Because
I think if it could
Vanessa's
have
not
been like
online.
cycle like 3 or cycle 4 or something,
Right.
would have been like, okay, well, like they still had a whole other cycle or two they had to get through. So maybe
Exactly.
this
But
wasn't
like
gonna happen.
so close. And like Vanessa's not online. So there's just this like long period of time where all this is happening behind the twins' back and they're not and she's not there to defend herself or do anything to
And it was
stop
a week
it.
they won HOH.
Jace,
Like that was a bitch, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
and
like
Jace is just turning like you said, Blaze, like he's just he's a coward. And it's very frustrating when you see someone who knows what's in their best self-interest, which again, like, did it really matter? Like, who knows? But it's like, I think that it would have been better for Jason and Audrey had the twins stayed over Becky.
Yeah.
But it's like, we're watching them know what's in their self-interest and be like, oh, well, I don't know about the house. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Don't piss me
like,
off.
Vanessa isn't here. Audrey, who was going to be one of their like staunchest defenders, isn't here.
Literally.
Like, Jace doesn't
Yeah, she's gone.
Yeah, Jace doesn't want to like put his foot down and like get scared off by Davon. And James and Jackie are like basically relying on some other people to be vocal because they don't want to be super vocal about it.
Cowards.
And it just all like folds in on itself.
Well,
And
they ran the vote the prior week. They couldn't do it, you know?
Yeah.
I do
And
think
it just gets to the point where everyone is like, okay, well, like this isn't gonna happen. And
Yeah.
it just like collapses in on itself, and everyone just starts like making deals and like promises to Becky because she's the one here and she's the one that is like pitching and actively trying to do stuff and better herself. And
Which good for Becky
yeah,
for
no,
doing that,
absolutely.
by the way. That
No,
all needs to
Becky
be
did great.
said.
And
But like,
Becky did great. And also,
Yeah.
Can I just say too that with Becky, I'm so sorry. I was just there, so locked in, and I've been holding my frustrations in for so many days now. I just want to say that was something that also was annoying about this vote in terms of Becky was everyone behind Becky's back is like, Becky is so harmless. She'll probably cry if she gets evicted. Like, she's literally not a threat. Like, well, it's like they were being so mean to Becky under the guise of like, this is the nicer thing to do. It's like, you guys are bitches. You guys are dumb bitches. Like, you guys are not only being so condescending and patronizing and rude to the people you're evicting, the twins, but also you're being a bitch to Becky, who's done literally nothing to any of you. Like, that's why there was no one who was likable other than literally Davon for me, because Davon at least was just like, I'm evicting the twins. I'm gonna do what I want to do. Like, you guys do what you want to do.
Yeah, no,
and she wasn't insulting Becky.
Stood on fucking business.
She stood on her ground, and she had a good reason. She didn't insult the twins or Becky. She was just like, I have no game reason to work with the twins, and I have a better working relationship with Becky. And she left it at fucking that. It's like, can no one else in this house have like some fucking decency? Like, they were just being so unnecessarily like pompous and condescending and rude, and it was not fun to watch.
I think this is like the kind of almost peak of this weird little like trend that there has been in this game of being like over like stringing people along unnecessarily, especially nominees, and especially like preachery. Like, I feel as though you really shouldn't do a jury either, honestly, because like I feel as though people respect when you actually just tell them to their face more than like to betray them and lead them on. But like in general, this is the time when you should be like building up your trust with even others. Like, do they not see that if people are claiming, like if nominees are claiming them as a number when they're not that number, that they just come off as like untrustworthy and like lying to people for no reason? Like, this is so foreign to me because like, I don't know, maybe that's just because like I do enjoy using the early game to build up like lower level, you know, trust with people, if that makes sense, so I can lie later. But like, it's just truly wild to me. I don't understand.
But yeah, the vote largely any chance that the twins had at staying in the game, live and die as Jace and Jackie and James, like just don't find it to be worth it anymore and aren't willing to put their foot down to save them. So it all just comes in. It's not even, it literally turns into like unanimous. And the twins just get evicted.
Even Audrey turns.
Yeah, because
I mean, what is she gonna do? To be fair.
Yeah, she was just trying to like salvage her relationship with Becky at that point. But
because that's honestly what it turned into, is people who were like, okay, well, Becky's gonna be here anyways, so I might as well like save face with her. Like, she's good in comps pretty much. So like absolutely, yeah. And unfortunately, just moments before they would have been able to enter the game, as Vanessa and Veronica, the twins, are evicted in one fell swoop. And it's very sad.
Worst day of my life.
They get evicted, and then the next message in announcements after their eviction is the twin reveal. Like, it was like, It was nasty.
Kind of KO. Kind of KO.
Boo.
Nasty
And then
work.
Jeff's like, "Ugh, at least my big move is that I got the twins out. Shut the fuck up. Don't piss me off. Okay, your
He
big
didn't
move is
do-
making the game less interesting and worse.
But he
Good
didn't
for
even
Well,
you.
it's
do
not
it.
his move.
Yeah,
It's,
he didn't even
he's-
do it because it was the twins. He
No,
was just
he
like, oh,
didn't.
okay.
But
He
also,
didn't.
he wasn't the central force that even caused it in the first
No.
place.
No, he honestly was so like he was so wishy-washy. He was telling everyone like, just vote how you want, guys. Like I get it, it's a hard vote. Like you can't even have a target. But then he's like, I got the twins out. Shut the fuck up. That's why I don't bless you. You are not blessed.
Oh, I don't bless you. It's crazy.
I wish you guys could see Sydney. I wish this was a visual medium for this one episode only, just so you could see Sydney going through these motions. God bless her.
It's
It's been a
wonderful.
But
lot.
yes, that was by and large the cycle. So it's that time of the week where we go through and give our own MVP points for whatever we feel, whatever quality that you particularly saw in someone this cycle that made you want to reward them with things. There wasn't a lot of it. So I'm sure we'll manage to find something. Would anyone like to go first with their MVP point?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it to Devon, and
Mhm.
I'll keep it short because I'm gonna get into this more later with top billing, and I've already said it. But she was the only one who I liked this entire cycle, so that's why she gets
Right.
mine.
Yeah, totally fair.
Yeah, I'll go next. Davon is also my MVP for all of the reasons listed above. I also feel like she's the only one that walked out of this week like unscathed by anything that happened anyway.
Yeah.
Because everyone else, it was like everyone was being wild and crazy, but then everyone else watched everyone be wild and crazy.
Yep.
It was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like it was just one of those moments where you sit back and you're like, okay, well, I guess the entire house dynamic is going to change now
Mhm.
because everyone blew each other up about everything. Like it was just like it was one of those weeks, and Devon was the only one that even walked from a pure like game perspective was the only one that walked out unscathed because she was like, "This is what I'm doing. This is how I feel. Whatever."
Yeah.
And so it was like, "All right, cool." So Devon gets my MVP point.
Yeah, no, I feel the exact same way, so I'll just dogpile on it. It made me think of there's that clip. I don't remember what it's from, but it was "You're the only bitch in this house I respected." And
Exactly.
someone like is like walking out
Exactly.
the door, and that's I felt that way kind of about Jeff and then about Davon, but then Jeff got wishy-washy with the backdoor thing to begin with asking for pawns, and then was like kind of weird about it after the fact too. So I was like, okay, Davon, it's all you, gal. And yeah, I for everything and more, I'm giving my point to Davon as well.
Very good. Blaze, are you also doing Davon? Because I have someone different. So I was
I
gonna
have
go
someone different too.
Oh, okay. Look at us.
I guess I'll go first then.
Period.
I do think Davon played the best this week. So hands down, Davon did play the best this week. But I have to put a little credit on Audrey's name for trying to do something that would flip the vote. And I do think that it was good for her game. And I appreciate her for trying to put the steps forward to do it. And she did something that a lot of people weren't willing to do. Other than Davon, I think she's the only one that I could solidly like see reasons for, even if it didn't go her way. And I just gotta put a little respect on her. And I have a feeling Davon will get points in a future episode for some reason.
I'm sure there are more points for her on the way.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do think Audrey is a good pull though. For like I said, like you said, it was like she at least was actively attempting to do something to benefit her game,
Mhm.
where and was
Yeah,
like
I could see that for sure. Another person I was
Yeah.
maybe considering was James, just because of the clutch, like
Mhm.
veto study sesh with Jackie.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah. Alex,
At
who
least
was-
So-
Audrey was like entertaining. But sorry. Well, yes.
No, you're good. You can always hate Sid. So I am actually going to do a little bit of a different direction because I feel like I now need to be like different and that cool hipster girl. But I feel like I want to give my point to Jackie, and that is
What?
because no, stop, Graham, stop saying I'm quirky. Anyway, the reason I want to give it to Jackie is because first of all, she has built such a good social game with James that he literally handcuffed her in the basement to get her that POV win.
True.
And like you have to like that is not something to be undervalued. The fact that you have an ally working that hard to get like a POV for you, basically, is I think that's really like social game manifest, you know?
For sure.
And then the other reason I say that is because while Day ate this cycle up, down, right, center, she did so kind of visibly. And I do think that that is going to bite her a little. Basically, that's either going to win her the game or bite her in the ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that with the way this cast has been a bit like floaty and not really doing a lot, her kind of having such visible moves is going to get her evicted sooner rather than later. And I think that while Jackie kind of got her way, she didn't do so as visibly as Devon. And so for that, I would like to give Jackie my point.
Yep.
I hate to fight women.
No, I have literally a clip of
But
you saying
do-
I don't respect women. Don't even
Okay,
start
let's
with
not
me.
even.
And-
Okay, let's cut that from the record, please.
Gag
Um,
Cut that.
cut that. But what I was gonna say was I do agree with your point, and about Devon being openly visible, but I think that's a conversation we need to save for next week, because I think that
That's-
happened. I mean, again, I don't want to spoil, but I think that
Time is
happened
an illusion. I get stuff
next
confused.
week. You know what I mean? Like I think
I don't know. I
the
definitely feel
moment-
like I saw people reference Day as far as this vote. Like I feel
Yeah,
like she
but-
still was
but it-
getting a little bit of visibility for that.
but it builds to a head. That's when I could see that becoming a problem. If she had just had this week and then like chilled out next week, I think things would be different.
Oh yeah.
But like,
She's kind of giving like Sunflower effect, where like
Yeah.
literally that's how we were able to get Sunflower out, is like, look at this resume he's been building, you know?
I
Yeah.
would not compare Devon to Sunflower.
No.
Literally at
Well,
all.
Sunflower before he like switched
off the
to
deep end?
QR codes.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
before they I mean, even when it was like just the MVP that nominated Tiny Kong in cycle 4 or cycle 3 or whenever that was, like Tiny Kong was still like felt tight with Sunflower and
Yeah.
and like these people. It wasn't until the like direct backdoor like got the hands of Zelda and Sunflower the next cycle that it like fully had like gone kaput like out
Yeah.
the window. So
And I will say Devon didn't like necessarily drive this vote. She just kind of put out her opinion, and people for some reason
To
just
be
decided
fair,
to follow
with this
it.
cast, that's enough. Putting down your like firm foot as far as
Absolutely.
your opinion is apparently enough to drive a vote. So like
She drove
Fair.
the vote on accident. Like they pushed her in the driver's seat against her will. And
yeah.
also, I'll just say, I agree. Jackie played this week very well, and so did James, honestly. And I think, like objectively speaking, just on gameplay alone, like I think they could be deserving of like some points. The reason I refuse to give them anything is because I am not rewarding personally their egos and their
that's
attitudes.
very
because
fair.
because
That's
not
very fair.
only
It's been a
yeah,
little
which
weird.
yeah, and well, like again, it's not like they killed anybody. Like it's fine, but like James and Jackie
Oh, yeah.
pushed the vote to the last minute when they both knew exactly who they were voting like 12 hours before that, and they were two of the worst, I would say, in terms of like leading Vanessa on and for no reason. And we already talked about it, but again, it's like I think the reason that they felt emboldened to do that is because it's pre-jury, so there's no like direct consequences of their actions in terms of, oh, I might miss this vote because I didn't treat them well enough going out the door. But there should just be like a level of like basic human respect. Like we're not playing for $1 billion. This is a free org that you chose to play. And like I just did not see the intention or the motive behind pushing that vote so long and lying to their face for so long for no reason other than I don't want them to blow up my game. Well, then maybe you shouldn't make promises that you can't keep.
Period. And that's on the whole thing about stringing people along. Like I just simply don't understand that shit.
Yeah.
I
Makes no
it's
sense
just-
to me.
yeah,
It's
And
not
pre-jury especially.
yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so stupid. And then we're like sending messages to James and subs like 1 hour, 30 minutes. I'm like, I'm about to start sending him every 5 minutes. And he's like, and Vanessa's like dumping information to him. He's like, hold on, I need to get this information from Vanessa. It's like, if you tell me to hold on one more time.
That part I do understand though. I do understand.
To be fair, we give
I
them
get it.
24 hours. They
Yeah.
have the
No,
right
no,
to
no.
use every fucking
I
second
get
of
it.
Yeah.
No, they do. It's just like, it was just
But I
after
do agree.
the
Sometimes
behavior.
the attitude and I get it.
Yeah.
After the behavior during the entire rest of the cycle, it was just like, just let it be done.
Can I
And
just
Just
Sydney,
let
note,
it
by the
die.
way, that I've gotten a lot more pushback on this MVP, not, what is it, MVP nom? What the fuck is this called?
MVP point, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Keep
Than I did when I nominated Liz, and that's power. So
I wasn't
Well, that's
there,
because
but I
none of
feel
us
like I
took
would have let that slide.
it's because none of us took the Liz MVP nom seriously.
Oh.
I was very serious about that, and I think we're seeing the better. I was a prophetess. Okay, I was Cassandra. No one believed me.
You saw before any of the rest of us saw.
Exactly. Thank
You
you.
have vision. You have a
Mhm.
vision that we
Mhm.
don't, and we
Oh.
should respect it. So I'm gonna
I
believe in
agree.
you, like
Well,
100%.
Sydney,
I agree.
why don't Sydney, while you're at it,
L-I-Z-T-O-G-O.
Sydney,
Right,
while you're
right.
at it, why don't you go ahead and do your top billing of the week as well?
Yes, thank you. Please keep us on track.
I
Please,
wanted
half
to
an
give it to
hour.
no one. I honestly still kind of want to give it to no one. Like I know Davon deserves it, but they all just piss me off so bad. But I have to because I'm being held like gunpoint by Jackson. So I will give it to
The hosting
Davon
team?
because Davon. Right, right. I'm gonna give it to no the hosting. We didn't deserve it either. We were bitching the entire cycle, or I was at least. I
Excuse
was
me,
not
my
upset by that
comp's
though.
8. You can give it to me.
That's
Thank
true.
you.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna give it to Alex and Davon. Alex for being pure of heart and working really hard on her comps and being the least cranky person on the hosting team for like 3 days straight. And I'm giving it to Davon because she does deserve it, but also because I have to give it to someone. In my opinion, I should have to give it to no one. But we all will count Davon or whatever.
Very good. Very good.
Whatever.
All right. That was our
Glowing
MVP
reviews.
and our top billing. It is that time of the week now where we go to our nominations for our weekly awards. I will quickly remind everyone of our categories for last week. We were doing the most dramatic speech in Rewind's history, stirred on by Johnny Mac's final words that he sent, absolutely lighting these people on fire. A quick rundown, the options that we had are in Rewinds 9, Sheila Kennedy's iconic giant speech that was copy pasted to death, and the Sheila out. And then in Rewinds 11, of course, we have Russell cursing Brayden bald on the way out. In 14, we have Krista kissing Danielle's chocolate starfish as a response to JoJo's jury question. In 15, we have Hades telling Shinx to get a life on the way out. In 16, we had Jacosta's kill sheet that she immediately pasted against Zach during the Zach door. And then, of course, last week we had John finally letting his bitch out in his final words. I can confirm I have tallied the results, and the winner of the most dramatic speech in Rewind's history is indeed Sheila out from
Period.
Brother Rewinds 9. I think it's
Period.
I
congratulations.
feel like I should say, I think this is the closest it's come as far as like this current season's nominee of being like a possibility to win.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. 'Cause
Like
it
that
was
really
good.
ate.
Yeah. Yeah, so this cycle, obviously, we had the twins fly too close to the sun and burn up
And
in
die.
flames. Yeah, moments before the twist was to come into full effect. So we felt it was only fitting that the category for this cycle is the biggest twist flops in Rewind's history. Um, Obviously, the twins are going to be nominated on there as they failed to enter the house on their own volition. But we've had quite a few in the past that maybe worked out one way on the real show and have not quite worked out as much on this. So I'm going to throw in a couple that both center around the infamous coup d'etat that has been implemented in a couple seasons. I think a lot of people forget that it was actually a thing on All Stars because Mike Boogie never used it anyways, and like the most he did was just threaten
Fun
to
fact,
use
he
it.
got it taken away from him because he told Will he wasn't supposed to.
Full work. There you go.
Dumbass.
So it was a factor in All Stars, in which, of course, the human being that was definitely on that season and made an appearance of Laura Dern, got the coup d'etat and proceeded to not use it 1 week. So she had it for 2 weeks. The first week she didn't use it and lost one of her closest allies. on the block. So that was fun. And then the second week, she could also use it to try and get out the front runner in Julia, and also decided to not use it after getting guilt tripped and then immediately got evicted in sixth place. So way to go,
Hi,
Laura.
Julia.
And then in the next time it made an appearance was in Big Brother Rewinds 11, in which it too was voted on by the fans instead of it being like a competition for who got it. And there was a large campaign in the Spec Lounge to have Brayden get the coup d'etat. Because, or no, sorry, it was going to go to Michelle first because Michelle was like this fun character who was super quirky and kind of an underdog and on the outs. So people wanted to vote for Michelle to get the coup d'etat. But our very own Swan did a coup of the coup d'etat and rallied the votes in spec chat to instead give it to Brayden because Brayden was going to use it to strike against the vets and make a big move. So after hours of work and really hitting the campaign trail, Swan managed to flip enough votes in the spec lounge for Brayden to get the coup d'etat instead, only for Brayden to get nominated the very first cycle eligible, and be on the block, but feel safe enough to not use it, and then was proceeded to be blindsided on the block and get evicted while holding the coup d'etat. So, the coup de flop. So those are my two nominees for the twist flops in Rewind's history. Someone else can throw a few more in the ring.
Yeah, my nominee for biggest twist flop, I had two options. I'm gonna let Blaze choose the other option because I have a feeling I know what Blaze's option is gonna be. And we will talk about that in depth because we both experienced it, I think. But the one that I would have wanted to touch on was again our infamous BB Rewinds 12, where Brittany was offered the Diamond Power of Veto and did not take it. And then Jackson was so shocked she didn't take it. He accidentally sent her the Diamond Power of Veto in her DR anyway. And then she was like, oh, wait, actually, can I have that back? And we had to say no. And then she was backdoored the very next cycle, and was evicted. So that is my option for twist flop. It's really funny that she literally asked for it back and then said we had to say no. And then
That was
she
so surreal as a spec. I had to check the twist channel to see like what was happening. It just was the weirdest
yeah,
fucking thing I've ever witnessed.
it was bad. It was really, really bad.
Yeah.
My other twist flop that I don't think should be nominated because it actually didn't flop, it was actually a good twist, but I hated it was on
So
Big
gonna
Brother
say it.
13, the phone booth where Shelly answered the phone booth and then immediately got immunity from eviction
No,
randomly.
that was everything.
No.
It was horrible. I hated it,
It may
but
have flopped
No,
for
no.
you,
I got
but
to
the
talk to
spec lounge
Kesar.
lived.
that's what I said. It was good for her, but it was bad for me. But I don't think it should be an actual. I don't think
Wait,
it's
was that because I answered the phone that we all
yes,
paired up?
yes.
I
Yeah,
thought I just got
because
to talk to Kesar.
no, because Lawan had already won HOH, and you guys all ranked each other from heroic to villainous, and then
Oh.
got paired up. Well,
I
and
know
then
the
the
game
phone
I
call
played.
happened, and you answered the phone, and it released the twin or the partners twist back on the house, and people were paired up as the heroes, the anti-heroes, and the
I thought
villains.
I just released Chelsea on the house. I didn't think that it was the partners
No, you
twist.
did that too, unfortunately.
Oops.
She was just getting those minutes.
I
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah.
That was really important to me.
No,
As you
it
I
can
should
tell.
love.
not be a nominee. I just wanted to mention it because I
Okay,
thought
I'm
it
not
was.
That's the
putting it
only
on the
way I
list because
clawed
I
my way
will.
to fifth after like I should have been out that that cycle.
It was a flop
Exactly.
for
That's why
me
it was
because I had to
awesome.
get rid of Angie. But
Exactly.
it doesn't. It is what it is.
Stop. You
I
leave
loved
her
it.
alone.
I said it was a flop for
Okay.
me because I had to get rid of her. What are you talking? Anyway, moving on.
Anyway,
Who's next? Who has a nominee?
period.
Me, I'm
Okay.
back. Hello. I was here the whole time. Anyways,
Hi,
what I'm going
Shakespeare.
to talk about is in Big Brother Rewinds 9, where it kind of flopped, it kind of didn't. That was the last season to have like a non-traditional battle back where there was like no competition or anything. So Big Brother 9 was weird. they had everyone leaving their pairs, which was a nightmare in and of itself, if you want to call that a flop or not. But then at the final 10, there's supposed to be a battle, but like the 10 into 9 shift, it was supposed to be like America votes for one of the first evicted people to be a nominee to return, and the House won't know who it is, but they get to vote between that person or the person that they just kicked out. But then we had, I think, right before or after we were going to do it, we had an inactive ejection, so we had to like do it like one round before we planned on doing it, and it was like about to like fuck with the jury because it was like technically it was like how do we like if someone is technically not injured, just put it was a whole mess that thankfully we didn't have to deal with. But yeah, so going into that week, um, the person named Alex, not this Alex, a different Alex, one HOH, and nominated Jacob and Ryan as they always do. And then Jacob, of course, wins the veto as he always does. And then they were like, okay, what the fuck do we do? And Jen's like, you know what? I'll do it. I'll be Lawan. Nominate me, send me out, and then vote me back in. And they were like, I mean, okay, I guess. And they did it. And then the entire so she left on a Monday and returned on a Tuesday, basically. But within that whole day, while it was going on, people were like trying to like, hey, maybe we should like not do that. What if we just voted back the mystery person instead and like took Jen out? But then another part of the twist was that they couldn't communicate with each other after the evict. They had to have to like vote, and then that was it. So they couldn't even like. Jen broke the twist by like gaming it because she suspected that Swan or Chris, aka Sheila or Sharon, would be the likely people to return, and she needed to block them out because them coming back would be horrible for her because of how badly she did them in the game. So she was like, "I'll just send myself out." And so people were like, "What if we keep her out?" But then they couldn't coordinate, and so it took 7 votes. It was 7 votes total. They tried to set up a 4-3 flip on it, but then they didn't like they some of them bailed on it because they couldn't coordinate. And then two, they were relying on Joshua's vote, but Joshua was close with Jen, so he was never keeping her out anyways. So like Jen broke the twist by like blocking it to keep the queen girls out. What are the MILFs? What do they call them again? Whatever. Sharon and Sheila, keep them
MILFs,
out.
yeah.
Yeah, and then like Ryan and Jacob,
MILFs,
whoever the fuck tried to combat it. I don't even remember. I was like Ryan and Jacob, it looks like, or Alex. Alex and Jacob tried to do it, but they couldn't coordinate, and the twist was blocked. Them ungaming the twist was blocked because they couldn't talk because of the twist. So it was just a whole mess of errors. Then Jen, of course, came back in 5-2. Sheila stayed out. They were their final 8. America got a jury vote because Matt McDonald fucking sucks. And yeah, the twist was just a mess, and it was always a mess. Production did it slightly better in 13, where they made it a competition instead of a vote, but either way, just a mess. And I'm glad that they've made the battle backs a lot less complicated, even though they're still messy to begin with. And
Yeah, at
that
least
is
it's like
my
things that people can actually control and stuff. So
yeah.
I feel like I should
Okay.
piggyback on. Oh, hi.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like I should piggyback on Shinx's because mine is also one where it's like it's technically a flop, but it's only because queens were queening, you know.
right, yeah.
And so mine is the season 16 when it was the rewind button. I think that's what it was called.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, rewind in a rewind season, great, phenomenal. Anyway, so this was when Nicole was HOH, and it came time for the rewind thing, which was like, if I recall correctly, wasn't it like the thing where you post a million images and then you have to like, some of them were removed and you had to guess the phrase and all that?
Yeah, it was the very like we've done it on like reindeer games. We did it on other
Thank
stuff.
you.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was like hidden in a certain room, and they had to figure out what room it was hidden in and
okay,
play
good.
more.
Like I was specking, but I also wasn't playing, so I wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't remember it quite as well.
Yeah,
But from what I remember, it was that Nicole, I think it was like Nicole, Cody, basically like Shield, right? They were all like kind of coordinating on that.
Yeah,
And then
it
like
was because it was the final five at that point. So it was Nicole
yeah,
and Cody, and then Joey, Donnie, and Amber. So I believe the three of Nicole, Cody, Amber were working together on it. And
that's
then
right. Yeah.
Joey was kind of doing her own thing, and then Donnie was kind of doing his own thing.
And so wasn't Donnie like the one who was always fucking like locking in immediately for
Yes.
everything?
It
And then
had
this was like
become
the
yeah.
one
Yeah.
this is the
It
one
was a
comp
trend that
where he
Donnie
just
would
like
just
wanted
blindly
to wait.
guess. Yeah.
This is the one comp he wanted to like wait until the end and like bide his time and just really kind of like wait and see.
Yeah.
And because of that, he I think like his guess was correct. He
Yep.
simply was the last one to guess it.
Yeah.
And if he had like locked in with his normal MO of just like blindly locking in like YOLO, whatever the fuck, he would have gotten the rewind and actually been able to like probably change the course of the game and really fuck up Nicole's HOH and everything. But because he didn't, Nicole just kind of queened out, got the rewind button, and was like, well, what am I going to do with this? Fucking nothing. That's right. So, you know, it's like, it's technically a twist flop, but it's also just like Queen's consolidating power, and I can't be mad at that. So,
yeah.
Nicole, you really should have done better at Q&A. I'm so sorry, Queen. Like,
We
I'm
love
so
you,
mad
though.
about that still.
Sydney, I
We
know
love a
you're
queen.
very excited to talk about one in particular.
I'm so excited. And Blaze can jump in if he wants to, or add on if he'd like. I actually did the research of going back and finding some quotes that'll back me up on this one. So I am talking about BBR8 Dusty/Dustin, who was America's player. Just so we're all aware, he volunteered. This is Kevin, that bald head stupid bitch. He volunteered to be America's player. He volunteered to be America's player. So he absolutely wanted to do it, quote unquote. Knew exactly what he was getting into. He was not forced to do this. Like, he was excited to be America's player. So just know that he fully decided to do this for himself. And then he immediately was like, I actually just want to play my own game and win. And I don't want to do anything that America tells me to do if it's hard. And if they ask me to do hard things, I'm going to bitch at them in my DR and bitch at them and bitch at hosts in my subs and make it seem like this is somehow like abusive gaslighting behavior in some way. So I went ahead and went into his DR and I found the perfect quote actually that summarizes exactly his attitude with being America's player. I think the idea, right, exactly. I got receipts. He said, quote, I think the idea of surviving this week has got to take precedent. Like, sorry, America, your goal is secondary on my list right now. Oh, it's secondary, but you're America's player. That's literally the only reason that you should be in the house. So he would just have these like long paragraph rants about how like, oh, like America, like I'm not going to tell you who I trust because I don't want you to make me vote them out and backstab them. Like, he was trying to game this twist so hard because at the end of the day, all he wanted to do was to win, which, yeah, there's nothing wrong with wanting to win, but then don't volunteer to be America's player. Like, he literally just took the twist and made it as unfun, unentertaining, as bitchy as possible. And yeah, he just kind of made it not fun for everybody. And I hate you, Kevin. Eat shit.
And then he also ruined it by telling that he had it during the double eviction.
Oh, right. Yeah, extra. But you know what? He didn't get to final two, and I love that. I have a need. I have a need.
He sure did.
Blaze, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I mean, that's the most of it. That's probably the flop part of it. I was personally victimized by that twist multiple times. I was definitely the target for many, many weeks. Do I blame them? Not at all.
Hey,
But
there was a time where it was like
victimized.
Dustin and Joe on the block, save Joe. There was some of those.
I think they came around on you by the time of like the double eviction. Like, they were Joe.
Yeah, but it went back downhill a little bit.
You just slayed too hard, Blaze. Your slay was too gigantic, too enormous for them.
It's true.
True. I mean, this would be the first of 2 times I've been victimized by an audience twist.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But you know what, Blaze? You made it to final 2 and Kevin didn't.
It is very true.
I was victimized by America's player refusing to be America's player. because America loved me, so I was
Yeah.
also victimized by it, but the other way
Exactly.
around.
Yeah.
It's like
I remember-
Kevin had a gun and he just kept shooting the wrong people. Shooting people that no one asked him to shoot.
all I remember is like I never thought it was Dustin because I thought it was Kale the entire time. Kale was a big character actor
see
that
that, yeah.
season.
Let's not
And
forget
I was
0 out of
like,
9
Kale.
true
this
or
is
false.
this is giving America's
Wasn't that
player.
dark?
And
Yeah, it was
well,
Yes.
dark.
Yeah.
That's what I
yes.
thought. Okay.
But also the thing was too, there was this one competition. I don't know how they failed it so hard. I forgot what it was. I think it was
It
a
was true
math
or false.
competition.
It was
Oh, it was true or
oh that
false.
one true or false.
Then
And
they
she
get
got 0 out
zero.
of 9.
Because
Zero
0
out
out
of
of
9.
9. It's like, isn't there literally? I literally get reminded of a scene from like Spider-Man and Across the Spider-Verse or something, where
to
he's
get
like,
everything wrong, you have
you
to know
have
what
to know
the
the right
right thing is.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like true or false, statistically, you should at least get like 5 of them
Half.
right.
Or
something.
one.
Mhm.
One.
Yeah.
And they got every single one wrong. Every
I was
And
single.
like-
everyone was like, kills AP kills. I'm like, why would we make American Play do something so
Why did we
obviously
not add
bad?
that on our comp flops list? That should have been on our list of
That was
That's
famous
true.
comp
I'd
flops.
forgotten about that, but yeah, that's
Wait,
We forget about
also,
0 out of 9.
Can I just add one more thing about Kevin? Because this is really funny. Shank sent him a question and he goes, "That's pointed. Do you want to not editorialize quite so much in the questions?" And then a few minutes later, I think Jackson was typing and he said, "I'm honestly very annoyed. Jackson, if it's another question, I don't want to hear it. Ask me in plain terms."
Because
then
he was
instead of,
like,
like,
I'm
doing-
throwing the HOH and then was upset
Yeah.
at the result. And I was like, well, do you regret
I
throwing
will
the
say,
You
HOH?
should-
Shanks, that was kind of pointed when you said that because it
But he
was
said
that was
I
the one
regret
that Blaze won, and then they flipped and got Jamaica out,
Mhm.
and Shanks was like, "Well, do you regret throwing HOH?"
he
During
was
this
upset about the
competition.
results that he threw. So he wasn't mad that I said he was mad that I exposed to America that he was throwing. That's what his issue was.
And
I'm
then
like,
Jackson
well, why
went
are you
in the
throwing?
box. Jackson went
You
dot,
should
dot,
do it
dot,
again.
and then
She's
in regular
so
text.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
So many great
yeah.
moments.
So many,
Mhm.
so many lovely moments. Unless anyone else has another nominee, I think that that's pretty much wrapping us up for this time. I will post everything and the voting will commence. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much.
Now we've got a
Blaze, for
double
being-
eviction in 7 real life.
I know we're
Yeah.
about to go
God.
into the double
So
eviction.
Blaze
So
has to be
excited.
at
I'm
work in
excited for
7
that
real life
episode, too.
minutes.
It is. I'm literally gonna be at
I
work
love
when
how
this
we have this
happens.
Blaze
same
changed
deadline.
into his red Target shirt, by the way, just for the audio listeners.
Okay.
I
I
have
want
to
y'all
go to
know.
work.
We
I
gotta
made
go.
dinner. Blaze changed into his work outfit. We all were very productive this
We
podcast.
Oh, yeah.
have to go. This
Exactly.
has
Thank
to
you
end.
all so much for being here. Thank you, Blaze, for being our
Thank
special
you,
guest.
Blaze.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We
I
will
love
to
it.
be
see
here.
you guys next time.
So happy to
Bye.
see your face.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.